Hello, family. Welcome to Relationship Wednesday. Today on the podcast, we have Katilya Humphrey. Katilya is an inspirational new and upcoming poet and author of Patricia's Reflection. Katilya has fought many battles in the shadows for others as far as giving off positive energies and always being ready to put in the work no matter how hard life may seem in its current moments. Pushing forward and always paying forward has always been her key model for her life success. Katilya always tries to leave her mark of getting back up, starting over, to keep pushing through, and the end results will always be worth the efforts of not giving up. She hopes this book inspires all to look deep within the gates of our souls and find strength when needed the most to help ourselves and to push others to do the same with the warming of our hearts. Katilya, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Awesome. New author, new poet, inspirational. Yeah. Love it.
You want me?
And family, as you know, first of all, we're back after a little hiatus. And in case you forgot, this is how it goes. I'll read the bio, the professional bio, and then Lisa comes in and gives us an insight on who Katilya really is to her. So take it away, Lisa.
Thank you, Connie. I appreciate you for passing the mic, if you will.
No problem.
So here's the thing. Katilya, I met at a Source of Knowledge event.
Yes.
And this was my first time at this event, and we're kind of setting up, and this is new for me. This type of event was new for me. It was super exciting. And I looked to my left, and there is this woman, okay? Her setup was serious, okay? She had the tablecloth, she had the banner, she had the doll, she had the book. And I was like, okay, you know what? I really need to step up my game. I'm looking at the person that's with me that's supposed to be my brand ambassador. And I'm like, what you got me here with? Look at sister over there. So what does she do? She leaves me to go talk to Katilya.
She did that.
And I was like, I can't do that, because it drew me too. Because I was like, but that's what you want. You want to go to these events and the vendor draws you in just with what they have on display.
Right.
So of course, my girlfriend comes back over and she says to me, I need you to go talk to this young lady. She got something going on with her. She's serious. I'm like, really? She like that? She's like, yeah, but the part that you need to speak to, I can't do. That's what you do.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, well, you know what? Let me go see what this is about. I buck up on Miss Katilya. Ooh. I was like, okay, I see it. I said, sis, you got something with you. You know, there are people that you come in contact with, and there's something about their spirit that moves you.
Yeah.
But then you realize they don't even know what they got residing in them. That is Katilya. You can tell she has an absolute heart of gold, one that most could possibly and potentially take advantage of. So now I got in protective mode.
I went in big sister mode.
I went in big sister mode. Incredible spirit, incredible individual, such a wonderful light. Such a wonderful light, but so open to receive whatever you were willing to pour into her. And I was just drawn to her spirit, and I wanted to do whatever I could to be successful in the journey that it was apparent God laid out for her. On top of that, I loved her book and the concept of it. And it was apparent that she just loved God, and I needed to have her on the podcast. So I really wanted to bring her on to pull from her and have her share who she is. So yeah, I mean, you listen, anyone that encounters Katilya will fall in love with her spirit, because she has such a kind, warm, generous, giving heart. It is so obvious. It's so obvious. So
Awesome.
So there's my spiel. That's it. I'm not gonna give you no more. I ain't got no more. I ain't got nothing else.
Like, that's enough. Family think they feel like they know her already.
There you go.
They've been friends for years.
That's right. I need y'all to be friends enough that you go get the book. Okay.
Absolutely. So, Katilya, we usually give you a couple of minutes just to share a little bit about you that we haven't shared that's not in the bio. What are you currently working on? What your mission is really? What do you have going on with the poetry and the books that you're authoring?
Yeah.
Okay. With the books, right now I'm currently working on 3 books.
Okay.
Another children's book, which is geared towards special needs. I'm working on another book. It's a bio, but it's not going to be like bio. I'm thinking about putting it in fiction form so I don't offend people.
The names have been changed
Yes.
to protect those that got on my nerves. Okay, good.
And then I'm also working on a business journal book as well. I'm an upcoming entrepreneur. I'm working on a cosmetics company and also a natural hair. All my products going to be natural. So doing products for hair and stuff like that is going to be a part of it as well. Of course, I'm a mom of 3. I have 2 teenagers and 1 toddler. And they all boys. So give me a run for my money.
I can imagine.
Yes. And of course, I'm a woman of God. And also I'm a wife to be.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you. And basically, I'm born and raised in New Jersey, to be precise, Newark, New Jersey.
Okay.
Fantastic. We are so excited to have you
born
on.
and bred, huh?
There you go.
But now, is it Newark, or do you say Newark as well as some other people?
It depends on who I'm talking to.
All right.
Sometimes you gotta
Depends on the room. Depends on the room.
Listen, you got to cater to the audience.
Indeed.
Hear you.
Absolutely. In Newark, they're like, oh, okay, well, she's an educated sister. Okay.
All right. On that note, I'm going to start with the questions.
Yeah, start with the questions.
I'm going to start with the questions. All right, Katilya, my love, please share with us, when did you fall in love with Jesus and what did that look like?
Wow. When did I fall in love with Jesus? Wow. It's a little that question is a little tricky. Only because I've been encountering different things my whole life. Far as like I can remember, like far as like the age of 2, it could have turned out a tragedy. I choked on some candy at the age of 2, and it took literally back then. Parents wasn't running you. Well, my parents wasn't running you to the hospital. They sitting up there doing they call themselves doing the getting it out and no training. You just turned upside down, this, that, and the other. And honestly, at 2, and I know people be like, "Oh, how did at 2?" I don't want to freak nobody out, but I kind of had like almost like an out of body experience at 2 that stayed with me through all my phases of my life. No matter what I go through and this, that, and the other, I always have that flashback of my younger years, and that was one of them because they almost didn't get the candy out of me. That was the longest 20 minutes ever in my life at 2, and I can remember it. And a lot of people are like, I can't remember back. Yeah, I can. If it's life or death, some things stick
Absolutely.
with you.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that was one incident, and then I'm gonna answer your question. And then another incident is when I remember, and I was about 3 or 4, and my father first took me to church out of all of my siblings. No matter what he was going through his life, he just woke up and took me to church. And then at 3 or 4, forgive me.
No, please, sis. It's okay.
Absolutely.
Take your time, baby. Take your time.
At like 3 or 4, he took me to church. He was battling whatever he went through. My parents always, battled what they went through, but they always had some sense of spirituality that they gave us. So he took me when he was 4. When he took me to the church, and I sat in church, I felt like
how can I put it? Like almost like a little electric. That's the only thing I can describe it. It was a feeling, that went through my whole body at that age.
Mm.
So as time went on and I started going through different phases and different things in my life and dealing with different kind of trials and tribulations, it always brought me back to those two incidents in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I got older, like I said, we was always spiritual. My mother always was. She wasn't the one to take you to church, but she was always the one to teach you about God in the household and set certain morals and stuff like that. My father would be someone back then. He will go through whatever he went through, but he will physically take you every now and then. You see, so when I used to go through things in my life, I used to think back, and when I thought back, I started remembering that God was with me since I was small, no matter what.
Yeah.
So I started appreciating it and falling in love with it in my, maybe like my, I want to say as far as like maybe my early teens.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I say my life, it has ups and downs. But I was always somebody, people come to me for advice, people come to me, but I never had someone that I could go to them for. I always had to go and get my answers and my calling directly from God. I would have to pray about it. I have to, and then that's when he'll answer or direct me. And I used to always go looking for it outside, even though I knew that I would look for it outside by talking to people, but the same pouring that I would do to them when they poured to me, it didn't resonate like how I needed it to.
Right.
So then that's when I was a teenager and I started to realize, and when I had to go through things and I had to go through things alone, all I had was God. So that's when, all I had was to get me out of the dark places, happy times, to send me up there with God. So I want to say I, fell in love with him when I started to notice him when I was a teenager.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You had those incidents because when I'm hearing, I'm thinking, you think back to those two incidents because you knew God had you at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Even though there was like a fearful situation, you came out of that. God brought you through that.
Yeah.
So I think you kind of like, use that as your foundation that, okay, God is real.
Yes.
Because he saved me at 2. And what I felt when I went to church at 4 or 3 or 4, I felt his presence, and, that's really what you can use as the foundation, of the relationship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The first moment that he's real.
Yeah.
You always go back to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So. And it's interesting how you said that he speaks directly to you. Even though you go to other people, he still speaks directly to you. And it's, God is so awesome. He truly meets you where you are. And he understands that the world we live in is built on us going to other people. That's what we do.
Right.
And God will give you that. But sometimes he'll say, you can continue to go to those other people, but you're still not going to get what I need you to get because I want to give it to you. Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
So it's interesting how even when we know God is talking directly to us, our natural response is often, well, let me go talk to someone to see if I can get it, because that's just the way we're brought up.
It's a human part of us,
right?
Yeah.
That's the very human part of us. But it's such a beautiful thing that we don't worship a God that says, well, then I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Because that's what we do as human beings. You went and talked to that person, but I give you the best advice and I know what's best for you. Oh, you went and asked such and such. Well, now you can't come to me anymore. And God says, but I understand. And I'm still going to love on you. And I'm still going to give you everything you need. And I'm still going to come through for you. So that's such a wonderful thing that he's so gracious.
Absolutely.
And so understanding in that. But I love that he allowed you on top of just life. And when we deal with trauma, we tend to hold on to that. But, I'm grateful that he allowed you to retain that memory so that you can have it as your reference point.
Yeah.
But God is so awesome because, dare I say, you had that memory because he knew what would happen throughout your life. As you indicated, your parents' struggles. He knew she needs this memory, dare I say, created for a time such as this, and a time such as this, and a time such as this.
Yeah.
She needed this memory because when her dad goes through, she has to reflect on this. When her mom goes through, she has to go, you know what I mean? So, we I'd prefer it not be a memory like that, but
well, he gonna use what's gonna get your attention. So,
well, exactly. And what's more traumatic than you straddling life and death?
Yeah.
And listen, if God beat death with me, essentially, any other problem beyond that,
it's nothing.
I'm like, okay, let me go back to when I was in my most helpless state, because you're 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like adults. We're hacking and we're bending over and we're patting our own back if we need to,
right.
and running into chairs to give ourselves the Heimlich. But you're 2, so you're truly at the mercy of the very God that saved you.
Right.
He's so incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So who is God to you in your relationship right now?
God is my father. God is my champion. God is my leader. He's my guider. God is my everything. Without him, it would be no me. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, everything. God is, he's my everything.
Yeah. I love that. It's interesting because I feel like that's often our go-to. Well, God is my everything. But then when you really begin to do what you just did, like run down the list, is when you really start to say, wow, he really is my provider. He really is the one to sustain me. He really is my father. He really is my best friend. He really is my attorney. He really is my judge. It's when you begin to say, wow, because think about it. When you have a best friend and someone goes, oh, that's my best friend. Okay, but when you're in a jam, who do you go to? That's the one I go to. It changes, something shifts because it's not a generalized, my best friend. There's spots. You get what I'm saying? Like there's certain people that call me Lise. I know that there's a certain connection I have with them because they know me as Lise rather than Lisa. So God is your father, your provider, your sustainer, your protector. There's a different relationship rather than he's my everything. He's my God. If you can't break down what that everything entails, that's when you got a real relationship. I love that you were able to not only tap into that, but hold on to it, because we all know that sometimes the trials and the tribulations will have us believe, I just need to step away. Because sometimes our perception is, but if I'm walking with God, why am I still dealing with?
Why is this happening?
But again, when he said, let's get in the boat, he didn't say a storm wasn't coming. He said, I'm in the boat with you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. And I also feel as though, like, as far as me, I had to go through those things. I had to go through those trials and tribulations to make me the person I am today. And when a lot of people come to me, you can only give advice about something that you had experience with.
Yeah.
So I had to go through, good things and bad things. My life wasn't all bad and wasn't all good, but it's had its ups and downs. But I thank him for all that, because that made me the person that I am now. And now why people come to me, because a lot of people, because I used to think too, like, going back like that, when people used to call me all the time, and I used to be like, dang, y'all don't stop and ask me how I'm doing. Am I okay? And one of my girlfriends was like, no, because you always seem fine to me. Like, wow, you always seem strong to me. And I'd be like, wow, but sometimes that's a two-edged sword, because sometimes we train people, to treat us how we, train them. And then other times it made me think too, because kind of like an introvert in a sense. But it's a little weird because people come to me, they gravitate to me. I'm just sitting there minding my business. And people come to me, even though I'm inner, but like I said, it must be my spirit or something, because people gravitate to me. And then they just open up and, we talk and stuff like that. So, I'm thankful for the ups and downs, because when I meet people and they go through it, and I'm like, yeah, I did too. It hurt me. I got the Band-Aid, the scar from it. But guess what? I found a way to push through. Through God, through strength, through persevering, you have to find a way. Even if you got to crawl your way through it, cry your way through it, roll your way through it. You have to find a way to get through it.
Yeah.
So.
Ooh, there is such glory when you hear someone say, "But I'm glad I went through it."
Yeah.
There's when someone can stand in a storm and say, "I'm glad I went through that because I get to help another." That glorifies God in such a mighty way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the way God works, nothing happens by accident. Right. So he took you through something for the very purpose of helping someone else.
Yes.
Because he knew that, okay, you know what, she can handle this because I'm going to be there with her. And then this person that she's going to meet 2 months from now is going to go through the same thing. And I'm going to use her to bless that person and help that person through this storm. Because, and again, he meets you where you are. That person may not be in a place where, they are ready to receive word from him directly. So he uses you. You follow me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His words through you, his strength through you, his guidance through you, his blessing through you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, so when you look at it that way, you can't help but praise him even in the midst of the storm, of your storm. You know what I mean? So.
But who's that like? Christ.
It's like Christ.
He went through for us.
For us.
He endured for us. He was hungry. He understands our hunger. He was tempted. He understands our temptation. He felt abandoned. He understands the need to say, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So that's Christ-like.
There you go.
We often struggle with what's Christ-like. Did you go through and then help another because of what you endured? Did it help you be compassionate? Grant them grace and mercy? That's Christ-like. Because no one did it better than he did. That's for sure.
Ain't that the truth?
Right?
Yeah. Ain't that the truth? He wrote the book on it.
Because I'm saying I might be helping you through it, but in the midst of it, I might still have a little woe is me moment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You think back, you're like, oh man. Okay, I'm good. I'm just
saying, I might have a mini pity party.
Yeah, I mean,
something.
It's a very human part of us, Right. I mean, look, Jesus was human too, right? He got upset too, right? He flipped over the tables and all that.
Yes.
So,
that doesn't mean we should run around flipping tables.
I'm just saying.
Jesus did it.
Just saying. My Lord and Savior can get upset and flip some tables. I'm saying I might, push a chair or something.
Push a chair.
I'm just saying. Trying to be Christ-like,
Okay, what? That's it. That is it. You were done speaking until the end. So you wrap it up.
Oh goodness.
So what stage are you in right now in your relationship with God?
That's a good one too. Well, right now I'm in the rebirthing, rebranding my spiritual woman. Trying to do some things, letting him allow me to do things just a little bit differently. I'm such a giver, and I don't know how to receive. So he had to take me through some things that I had to allow myself to receive. So I like to give. I like to, make everybody happy. I like to give, but I just don't like to, receive. I don't like surprise. I don't like help. But these last couple of years, he put me in situations that I had, even if I didn't ask, he'll send somebody to say, you need this. You need that. Let me help you. Or let me pour into you. Let me give you a word that resonates. You know what I mean? So that's where So now I'm, like I said, once again, rebranding, rebirthing, meaning I'm finding a different way to live or handle or do things a little bit differently, and learning to receive, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
just allowing help and stuff like that. And actually, it's great. But I didn't know how to do that for so long. I always helped everybody else and live for other people, and now he's starting to allow me to finally live for me, allow me to finally be okay with just saying no,
Yeah.
without an explanation, and
Hmm.
allow me to have a moment for myself to do something for me for once.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful. So this is like a different stage and phase of my life that is wonderful, better late than never. But I think at this time is the perfect time for me,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
God has a lot in store for me and bringing out a lot about me that I didn't know I can do. For instance, like being an author and, just, start my own business. He's showing me, because I've been so much of a servant for other people, that now it's time for me to serve myself just a little bit.
Hmm.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
That's key though. That's
Yeah.
key. I have a friend who always say, in your case, queenship. Queenship is all about serving.
Yeah.
So if you want to be like Jesus, serve.
Yeah.
He said it's just that simple.
Yeah.
Because he was the ultimate servant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the key to the whole thing. Servantship and love. That's the key to the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's awesome.
That is. But it's critical that you do receive, because you have to be poured into. I mean, a car can only ride on fumes, but for so long they have to stop and they have to get gas.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, you don't want to have to be taught that the difficult way. I've had some of those. I was like, you didn't have to do it like that, God. And he was like, you wasn't listening any other way. So, bruh, yeah, we did. I know you feel like you got punched in the stomach, but suck it up, buttercup. You need to receive. And I was like, okay. Because you know what? He doesn't get glory when I sit in a space. If I don't need anything, I'm good. He doesn't get glory in that, And I know I needed. I was depleted and I was empty. And he's like, enough of the shenanigans now. You keep talking about how good a God I am, but look at you. You're barely making it right about now. You are empty. You have nothing to give. That's not showing the God that I am.
Right.
What did he say? I want you to have an abundant life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting up here. I got lint balls that owe people money. Like,
you need anything? No,
I'm good. I'm good. And you're not good.
No, you're not
good. You're right.
That right there though, that's that pride thing.
Yeah.
He has to kill that.
That was big.
Has to kill it. Because he can't operate as long as that's around.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you will sit there and suffer instead of asking for help.
Yeah.
Right.
Because your perception or everyone else's perception is, like you said, oh no, you okay, you good, you good, you got this, you got that, you always giving advice, you doing this. Yeah, but you don't know, when I go home, I'm empty.
Yeah.
And when someone says, you need anything, like you said, no, the perception of, because we were just talking about that the other day, when whoever asked you, are you okay? Do you need anything?
Right.
And then, when that question comes, if you're like, oh no, I'm good. Like she said, you're not going, God can't be glorified in that.
Right.
Especially when you need something.
Right. And for me, it was crazy because nobody ever asked me for years, do I need anything? Or, am I okay? So I kind of developed just learning how to figure it out on my own.
Mm.
How to deal, how to cope, how to improvise and, like I said, go to him and I think what helped me too is I always had a relationship and a routine with God before I start my day. I start my day off praying, meditating, dealing with God, a routine studying, reading, and not just reading the word, but try to apply it to my everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, so that's what helped me. But he just, now he's bringing like a different circle around, in a different spiritual circle,
Yeah.
that's, kind of likewise. And now, I can receive it and notice it and stuff like that because it's a different environment, different people,
Mhm.
Yeah.
different spirit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
That's awesome.
I love it. I love it because the enemy will have you sit in the space of you can't tell them you need something because they're gonna think you broke, girl.
Yep.
Or you can't tell them you need something. They're gonna think, oh, you over there faking. The enemy will give you some stuff, and you just be, yeah, you're right. I can't say I need it because then
Yeah.
God is going, what in the world? I put that person there to bless you. What are you doing? But then you get on your knees and you ask for these things, and He sends it, and because we don't like the way it's packaged,
Mhm.
it's like, no, I can't. And he's just like, oh, this child of mine. Because I know he had many conversations in the conference room about me. We need to talk about Lisa today. This is what we need to talk about. Gabriel, Michael, come on. Let's have a conversation. It's that Lisa girl again. It's that Lisa girl again.
Pull up her foot. Pull up her footage.
Yeah, it's too much
Let's see
footage.
this.
It's too much. Volume 1 or 2. This is where they were with me.
See, look at here. See, look right there. She did it again.
Do
See?
it again.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. So, at the end of the podcast, we usually give our guests an opportunity to just kind of pour into the family, speak words of wisdom or anything that you want to share with the family. You want to leave them with. The mic is yours.
Just tell everybody to, step out on faith, find your inner strength with the Lord and yourself. Just love on yourself, love on people as well. And, just, bless people. And that's about it. Be a blessing.
Just be a blessing. I was going to say that. Just be a blessing. That's all.
Well,
That's
you know
all.
what, Katilya, I would love for you to get blessed off of this podcast. So please tell everyone where they can find your book, where they can find you on social media. Give us all of the info.
Okay, you can find Patricia's Reflection on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Nook, Kindle. You could also email me directly for a signed copy at I spell it Katilya T HUMPHERY at gmail.com. So that's Katilya T Humphrey at gmail.com.
Awesome.
Well, listen, we'll make sure that we post it to our social media as well, so that your book can get out there, because I'm super excited for what you have done and what you are going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Super excited. Thank you for joining us, Katilya.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
All right. There you have it, family. Love and blessings. Love and blessings. Thank you for listening to Let's Talk R&R with Tony and Lisa. Follow us on Instagram at Let's Talk R&R, where we welcome your feedback.